Strange hints towards Hoenn and the earliest ancestor of Nurse Joy? Well, those are some of the things we'll be taking a look at in today's video, where we take a look at the Easter eggs and secrets you can find in Pokemon Legends Arceus. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's jump right into it. We start things off with what could essentially be a hint towards the earliest concept of the Pokemon centers. So if you go inside of the Galaxy HQ, you will find 3 different people, 2 old ladies and somebody that looks oddly similar to a character we know. But let's start with the old ladies. The first lady on the left will tell you that she hails from the Johto region, implying that yes, there's loads of characters that are in Hisui now that are from different places, like Johto, for example. The other lady will tell you something very interesting, which is that she really wishes there was a place all over the place, right? Like an area where people could go to heal themselves and heal their Pokemon, like an area where people could go and get taken care of, aka a Pokemon Center. She's literally talking about the concept of a Pokemon Center. And then there is a final character called Pestella. Now, if you talk to her, interestingly enough, she is actually the ancestor of Mira, and in this case, she acts like a Nurse Joy. So essentially, we have a literal early version of Nurse Joy / Mira going on right here. So there you go, ladies and gents, a literal Easter egg right in the game. Next, we have an Easter egg that can be found over at the Diamond Clan. So if you head over to the Diamond Clan, you can find one of their huts actually contains a very interesting painting on the wall. It's a painting of someone that looks oddly similar to Maxie. Yes, so in the Diamond Clan's actual, hut, there is a drawing for some reason of Maxie, which is really strange. But the reason for this could be that, he's the ancestor. This guy's the ancestor of Maxie, and down the line, that ancestry must have moved back to Hoenn or moved to Hoenn in general. And then, we got Maxie in the future. Or this is actually Maxie himself, like an older version of Maxie, like that maybe traveled from the Ultra Sun and Moon timeline into this one. Nonetheless, it is a literal Easter egg of Maxie being the leader of the Diamond Clan, but there is another one. If you head over to the Pearl Clan, they actually have a drawing of none else than Archie. Yes, on the right side, inside one of the tents, you will find a artwork of Archie, which is the evil leader of Team Aqua, whereas Maxie is of Team Magma. But if you see there, it's kind of odd, right? Because again, what is this? Could this be the Archie that we knew from Ultra Sun and Moon that ended up warp traveling? Because guys, remember that because of Giovanni, all those guys showed up in that game for the Rainbow Rocket episode. So would it be possible here that these guys time traveled or were sent here in the past before we as the player arrived? Maybe even further in the past, they were sent to Hisui by either Arceus or by Giovanni himself, something along those lines, and that's how they ended up there. Or did they perhaps just end up being the ancestors of, future Archie and Maxie? Well, we don't really know, but I want to know your thoughts and opinions on that one. Speaking of which, inside of both the Diamond and Pearl Clan's main huts, you will also find, oddly enough, a parchment and picture of Alder. Yes, Alder that you guys might remember from the Gen 5 era. The man is in there, which makes me wonder if possibly what could be happening here could be one of 2 situations. Alder was the original ancestor who kind of started things off, and then as he disappeared, then the ancestors of Archie and Maxie split the clan into 2 separate ways. He started the original clan, and they split into separate ways because the 2 of them saw it differently for which Pokemon was, the almighty Sinnoh. So one side was Dialga, the other side was Palkia. And that might be the reason that we ended up in the situation we are right now, where the 2 have more or less a weird conflict going on. But it also could be that Alder, with some time travel shenanigans / isekai things happening, same way our character showed up here, it is possible that because of that, our character actually had the same situation as them, where they got transported over. And Alder might have been transported over from a different timeline, or whatever it could be, or space and time, or literal world, into this one by Arceus. And in this case, he started this clan as a way to worship it and appreciate it. But then the other 2 that showed up, possibly from another timeline, or who were just ancestors of the original Archie and Maxie, ended up taking, things down the right, wrong lane, so to say. The next has got to be our fellow whoop boy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about none else than Qrikatoon. Yes, there is a lovely little Easter egg to Qrikatoon, which is actually the first alpha you take on. So the first alpha you take on is Qrikatoon, and if you guys don't know the meme, well, then you might not get this one, but essentially, it's just a joke that the internet loves, which is that Qrikatoon just goes da-la-la-la whoop, and it is fantastic. So just a little one, a tiny one, and it's actually the first alpha you take on, which I think is really cool. Next is kind of a pretty straightforward one. I mean, we know that Hisui is based on Hokkaido, which is the most northern part of Japan itself, and that's also where Sinnoh is based on. It's also based on more or less Hokkaido, but with specifically Hisui in this case, the character and the way the character looks, especially the garments and outfit that you as the player wear, and in particular if you're playing as a female character, you are actually wearing the same kind of outfit that the Ainu people used to wear. And not just used to wear, some of them still wear it, but you know, there's like this indigenous native group to this part of Japan, and they are a lovely group of people. They've lived there for very, very long, and they are sort of like, you know, the original people of Hokkaido, right? And they have this different way of dressing, and it's really lovely that in Pokemon, we've essentially gotten a homage to that, right? A way of honoring that, which I think is really awesome, as the main character wears the same head garment and outfit similar to that of these, you know, well, I guess Ainu people from real life. So kind of a cool little Easter egg. But another fun little Easter egg is actually that Paulina, who takes care of, well, essentially the Arcanine, is actually based on the Ama, which are a traditional female pearl diver like group, and that's kind of what like her actual outfits looks like. If you can look at it, you can see the distinctive white suit and diving mask are very similar to that of the Ama. So yeah, kind of a cool one. Shout out to Tokyo Game Life for actually finding this one, and it's just kind of interesting to see them like show up in this game. But yeah, there you go, guys. What do you think about it? So there is this odd like reference, you could kind of say. Shout out to mixeli for this one, by the way. But there's this odd question and situation going on, because back in Diamond and Pearl, there was this guy who told you within the Canale library that one article addresses the question on why Pokemon would go into a Pokeball, and then he continues on further saying a weakened Pokemon will curl up tight in an effort to heal itself, which is kind of strange. The Pokeball was invented to take advantage of that and protective instinct. And then Laventon in Legends Arceus specifically says, you'll recall of course that Pokemon possess the odd power to shrink themselves down. With the Pokeball we craft, we can make use of that power to catch them. So quite literally, Pokemon being able to shrink themselves is now more or less canon, right? Pokemon can essentially shrink themselves, which is really weird. I don't really know what else to say, but kind of a nice little callback to that guy from Diamond and Pearl. So there you go. Another Easter egg that references back to Diamond and Pearl is actually when Commander Kamado talks to you right after one of the battles you have with him and says, you truly do love Pokemon, don't you? Which is a reference to, well, his future, I guess, future grandson of Professor Rowan, who says, you too truly love Pokemon, do you? Which is really cool, man. Again, another reference back, another Easter egg to Diamond and Pearl. Next is an Easter egg that you can actually see right at the start of the game, which is, well, if you play as the guy, the shirt you are wearing as the character is actually a t-shirt from X and Y, possibly implying that you as the character, like when you show up in Hisui as the male character, might be from, you know, Kalos, possibly. It is possible, just saying, okay? There is a possibility you might be from Kalos based on the t-shirt you're wearing, because that's a t-shirt from X and Y. But that's just for the guy. However, if you are playing as the girl character, then you are wearing a t-shirt from Sun and Moon. Yes, you're wearing one of the t-shirts from Sun and Moon specifically, which could imply that you might be from Alola, a future version of Alola, or a separate world of Alola, right? So kind of a cool little hint. Really weird. Then there is a funny little Easter egg found by Sushi Trash over on TikTok, who specifically found that there's a little character, little guy, little kid in Pokemon Legends Arceus who says, but I want to go outside the walls, which sounds oddly similar to Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. So just a funny little Easter egg right there. Next is Shaymin. So you guys already know Shaymin. To actually get it in these games, you need to have a save file of one of the previous Pokemon games we had recently, which in this case I think is Pokemon Sword and Shield. However, the Easter egg comes more in the place you find it. If you go to the area known as the Flowaro Garden, you will notice that this place has just loads of dead flowers, but Shaymin is also located here if you do the post-game, you know, I guess, side quest, right? If you do the post-game side quest, you can go here and you will find Shaymin, but the flowers are dead. This area is all dead. There is nothing there. There's nothing alive. Everything is sort of, how do you call it? Just, well, dead more or less. Which is interesting because in the old, or I guess future, Floroma Town from back in Pokemon Platinum, a lot of characters would actually mention and say that Floroma Town was a barren, desolate hill long ago, avoided even by Pokemon. And people started planting flowers on it because it was such a sad place, but nothing would grow. People didn't know what to do. And I guess in the future, this gets fixed thanks to none else than Shaymin in this case, and maybe even Arceus helps out a bit. But there you go. Future Floroma Town. It used to be Flora Garden, which was just a desolate, sad place. Next is Darkrai. Now, oddly enough, Darkrai this time around isn't found on an island. Instead, he's found in a more casual area. But Darkrai, again, is receivable if you do one of the side quests in the game. But this only happens if you have a save file of Pokemon BDSP. But if you find it, you can have a battle with it where Darkrai will be kind of messing around with you, floating all around you, going behind you, kind of trying to scare you. So just kind of a little cool side quest. If you guys want to see, I have a full video of how to get this if you don't know already, so go check out that guide if you want more details. So if you pick up the request slash side quest known as the Clefairies Moonlit Dance, you can go and actually investigate a weird Clefairy dance over at the Fabled Spring, specifically on a night during a full moon. And if you do this, you'll find a bunch of Clefairies just kind of dancing and having a great time. And this is a direct reference to the, specifically in this case, the Clefairies from Heart Gold Soul Silver who do a dance on Mount Moon, which all kind of connects really well because, well, there is this whole thing about Clefairies essentially being from space, if that makes any sense, and anything related to the moon, they are connected to. I mean, Mount Moon is where you mostly find them, so there you go. Really a strange little Easter egg and reference to the older games. Next, for the next, last 5 spots, we're going to take a look at all the ancestors. I'm going to start it off with none else than you as the player character. You, the player character, if you're playing as the female, or as the male, you are playing as the original Dawn and Lucas seemingly, or the ancestors of these two in one way or shape, as you look very similar to them. So those are the first ancestors you get to play with in this case. And then we also have the Professor Laventon, who's also the ancestor of seemingly, I guess in this case, Leon. It looks like he's the ancestor of Leon because he is from Galar as well, and the way he stands and the way he moves is all similar to him. And he could also be this, I guess, the ancestor of Leon's little brother as well, which would be, in this case, Hop. I mean, Hop even mentions that he thinks he wants to become a Pokemon professor, which I guess is a direct hint to Laventon having an influence in terms of, I guess, genes in some way to him wanting to be a professor. So kind of an odd one, but kind of a cool one. Then we have Celine, which is the obvious ancestor of none else than Cyrus himself. And oddly enough, Celine ends up actually being a pretty nice character and not that evil. And I think in the end of the day, Cyrus was bad, but I don't know, I guess the man just wanted to create his own universe, so I guess you do what you want to do. Then there is Volo of the, well, guild, as well as Kogita, who both are the ancestors of seemingly, well, in this case, I would argue, Cynthia. I mean, both kind of look similar to Cynthia, and, you know, they both just have this odd connection to her. And yeah, they definitely are connected to Cynthia herself and influence Cynthia's future kind of interest in discovering all the mysteries of the Sinnoh region. And this one we already sort of mentioned, but Commander Kamado, of course, is the ancestor of Professor Rowan, which we kind of already knew. Then we have Anthe, who's actually connected to, oddly enough, the Castle Valet Darash, or Darash himself, from Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver. Kind of an odd one to keep in here, but yeah, just weird. Then, of course, we have Pacelli, which we already kind of mentioned previously. Not Pastelli, I call it Pastelli for some reason. But Pacelli actually is the ancestor of Mira, as already mentioned, which, again, is a bit odd. We also do have Sanqua, which in this case is the ancestor of none else than the elite 4-member of Karen. Yes, but also they look so similar, it's kind of uncanny. I mean, come on, it's kind of crazy. Then we also have Colza, who's the ancestor of Gardenia. I mean, just look at this guy. He's obviously connected to her, and I mean, he's even planting crops. He's really into the whole, like, growing plants and stuff, which definitely stays in the family when it comes to his future ancestor of Gardenia. Then we have Mai, whose ancestor definitely could be Marley that we meet later on. So yeah, like, there's another one. There you go. And this one's a bit of a far-fetched one, but Irida, the leader of the Pearl Clan in this case, could possibly be connected to none else than possibly, I'm just saying possibly here, could be connected to May, specifically May. I mean, again, possible, not guaranteed, but could possibly be connected to May, especially because of the outfit and everything. We also have Adamant, who could be connected to Professor Sycamore because of their design and everything. We also do have Leon, who I would argue, this one's kind of an obvious one if we're going to be honest about it. He's obviously connected to Clay from the Gen 5 games, so there you go. Obviously, he's related to Clay. I mean, just look at him. He's even got the same hat going on, man. I mean, it's the same thing, literally. We also have Arezu of the Diamond Clan, and she seems to be connected to none else than one of the commanders, specifically Commander Mars from the Diamond and Pearl and Platinum games. We also have Zissou, who is like one of the Security Corps people, but she is clearly connected to Flint, obviously. I mean, they got the same hair color and same hairstyle and everything, and just style going on in general, and an oddly good and fiery passion for battling. Then we have Choi, whose ancestor seems to be specifically Sharon from the future games, or rather from the past games of Platinum and whatnot. So yeah, there you go. Then we have Benny, who literally is acting like a straight up ninja, and the way he looks and the Pokemon he uses and everything, it seems like he might be connected to Wally in this case. And yes, you guys know Wally, the poor little guy who just seems to never get a break and is just always in our way. I mean, both of them even use a Gallade. I mean, come on. We also have Rai, who interestingly enough, could be connected to a certain someone that we met before, somebody called Riley. I mean, both of them even use, Lucario. Both of them use Lucario, and when you battle him, he just talks about Lucario being like mainly his only Pokemon in this case, and a Pokemon that seems to want to battle you because it has some weird connection to you, so kind of an odd one. We also have, of course, Ginter, who is the ancestor of none else than Volkner. I mean, both of them even sit in the same way, and they look the same way, and yes, they're obviously connected. Then we have Charm, one of the bandits, who could be connected to Bertha, one of the Elite Four members from Diamond and Pearl that you might remember, so could be a nice connection there between those two. We also have Clover, who clearly is a ancestor of Candace herself, and I mean, they're all sisters and whatnot, so there you go. There's also, of course, Coin, which is the last one, and this one is obviously connected to one of our, well, future commanders, that being of Commander Saturn in this case. Next, we have Sabby, who's obviously got the same hair color and design going for her, similar to none else than Pokemon trainer Cheryl, and yeah, they've got the same kind of timidness to them and the way they act and everything. Like, they've got the same thing going for them. We also then have Garrick, which is the ancestor of Wolfric. I mean, both of them are just into the whole Ice-type Pokemon thing and just being a little too comfortable with, you know, not wearing a proper t-shirt, I guess. And finally, we have Bren of the Security Corps, who could be connected to an ancestor of none else than Commander Jupiter. And that's going to be the last of the ancestor we will be covering. Those were the side quests. Have a great day, and bye-bye.